Jury selection is set to begin tomorrow in the Laken Riley murder case, the nursing student's death in Georgia.
Imagine starting your day like any other, going for a jog, surrounded by the peaceful campus you've called home. That's exactly what 22-year-old Laken Riley, a nursing student, did on the morning of February 22nd, 2024. But something went horribly wrong. She never returned from that run. Hours later, her body was found near a lake on campus, leaving everyone stunned. How could this happen? Why would someone harm her in a place that was supposed to be safe? As the details began to unfold, this tragic case raised tough questions and led to a national debate about safety, justice, and immigration policies. What really happened to Laken Riley? Laken Riley was a 22-year-old nursing student at Augusta University, full of life and ambition. Born and raised in Marietta, Georgia, she grew up in a close-knit family with strong values and big dreams. Laken had a natural talent for connecting with people, and it was her caring nature that led her to pursue a career in healthcare. She was studying to become a nurse, hoping to help children and make a difference in people's lives. Friends and family describe her as intelligent, warm-hearted, and full of energy. Outside of her studies, Laken was known for her love of running. She was a dedicated athlete, having run cross-country in high school and participating in races whenever she had the chance. Running was her escape, a way to clear her mind and stay active. She was also an active member of her sorority, Alpha Chi Omega, where she built lasting friendships and embraced campus life. With her bright smile and positive spirit, Laken lit up any room she entered. Her friends remember her as someone who always had time to listen, someone who genuinely cared. Her family recalls her setting goals, working hard to achieve them, and dreaming of a future where she could use her skills to help others. She had a whole life ahead of her, filled with hope, plans, and possibilities. On a chilly February morning, Laken Riley set out on her usual jogging route around the University of Georgia campus in Athens. It was a peaceful time, with the early morning fog still lingering over the wooded paths and Lake Herrick reflecting the muted light. Running wasn't just part of her daily routine, it was her way to stay focused and energized. She'd often head out alone, familiar with the quiet trails that wound through campus, surrounded by tall trees and the sounds of nature. But on this day, something felt different. When Laken didn't return as expected, her roommate grew concerned. They had plans for later, and Laken was never one to go off without letting someone know. By midday, as hours passed without word, her friend decided to alert the campus police, sparking an initial search around her usual jogging paths. The worry quickly escalated into fear as it became clear this wasn't just a case of a delayed runner. The search led officers to a secluded part of the campus near Lake Herrick, a spot often frequented by students for its tranquility. There, hidden by the dense trees and shadows, they made a heartbreaking discovery. Laken's body was found, her life tragically cut short, and it was immediately evident that foul play was involved. The secluded area, normally a place of calm, now became the scene of a terrible crime. The once quiet trails where the sounds of birds and rustling leaves had filled the air were now flooded with the presence of police and investigators, searching for clues to piece together what had happened in those early hours. As news of Laken Riley's tragic death spread, the investigation quickly gained momentum. The University of Georgia Police Department, along with local and federal agencies, launched a thorough search for answers. Officers combed through the wooded trails where her body was discovered, gathering potential evidence and securing the crime scene. They interviewed friends, classmates, and anyone who might have seen Laken that day. Her family and friends, shocked by the loss, cooperated fully with investigators, offering any details that could help. In those first critical hours, police began reviewing surveillance footage from around the campus. It didn't take long for a potential lead to emerge. Footage captured a man lingering near the trails, acting in a way that drew suspicion. This individual, later identified as Jose Antonio Ibarra, was a 26-year-old Venezuelan who had recently moved to Athens. Witnesses who had seen him around described his unusual presence near student areas, and one particular image of him caught on a camera stood out. He wore a distinctive Adidas hat, which matched the description provided by witnesses who noticed him near Lake Herrick around the time of Laken's disappearance. As investigators dug into Ibarra's background, more troubling details came to light. Ibarra had crossed into the United States in 2022 and had a history of encounters with law enforcement, including prior arrests in Georgia. He lived in an apartment complex not far from the UGA campus, making it plausible that he frequented the same jogging routes as Laken and other students. But his connection to this particular crime was far more direct than simple proximity. DNA evidence collected from the crime scene, as well as items linked to him found nearby, quickly pointed to his involvement. Further investigation revealed that Ibarra had allegedly interfered with Laken's 911 call, disconnecting it during her desperate attempt to seek help. With evidence building, law enforcement faced increasing pressure from the public and media. Laken's case became a rallying point for the local community, especially with her family and friends pleading for justice. News outlets picked up the story, and soon it spread beyond Athens, capturing national attention. People were horrified not only by the crime itself, but also by the implications surrounding it. The public voiced their outrage, calling for justice for Laken and swift action against her killer. Social media was flooded with messages of support for her family, as well as frustration over the circumstances of her death. As investigators delved deeper into the case, a disturbing picture began to form. Witnesses came forward, recounting unsettling encounters with Ibarra in the days leading up to the crime. Some students mentioned feeling uneasy when they spotted him lingering near campus paths, often appearing to watch runners and students. This behavior, coupled with his past run-ins with law enforcement, made him a prime suspect. His criminal history painted an alarming image. There were reports of prior arrests and ongoing legal issues, including an outstanding bench warrant for a missed court date. Further investigation revealed even more chilling evidence. Phone records placed Ibarra in the vicinity of Laken's last known location at the time of the crime. Forensic analysis also indicated that Laken had attempted to call 911 during her assault, but the call was abruptly cut off, suggesting interference from someone nearby. Traces of Ibarra's DNA were identified on several items near the crime scene, linking him directly to the area where her body was found. Together, these clues pointed to a horrifying scenario, one that shattered the community's sense of safety. As the investigation progressed, authorities speculated that Laken's murder may have been a crime of opportunity, where Ibarra, seeing her alone on the trail, seized the chance to attack. This theory resonated with many as police confirmed that there was no known connection between Laken and Ibarra. It was a random act, one that spoke to the senseless and brutal nature of the crime. However, for Laken's family, the randomness of it all added an unbearable layer of grief. Her father expressed how he wished he could have protected her and emphasized the unfairness of losing someone so full of potential to a meaningless act of violence. As the family publicly shared their heartbreak, they became vocal advocates for justice, hoping to prevent similar tragedies in the future. They spoke of Laken's warmth, her compassion, and her aspirations to make a difference as a nurse. For her family and friends, the loss was devastating, but they rallied to honor her memory, pushing for answers and accountability. In the wake of Laken's death, alternative theories and speculations briefly surfaced, with some questioning if the murder might have had other motives. Others suggested that perhaps it was a case of mistaken identity or that multiple people could have been involved. However, each theory was scrutinized by law enforcement, who found that the evidence overwhelmingly pointed to Ibarra as the sole perpetrator. Investigators combed through every possible lead, determined to ensure no stone was left unturned. Ultimately, the clarity and consistency of the evidence left little room for doubt. Ibarra's criminal history, his presence on the campus, and the forensic evidence aligned to form a clear case against him. The community watched, gripped by both horror and sorrow, as the truth unfolded. Each revelation heightened the collective grief and resolve, fueling the demand for justice for Laken. Following the mounting evidence, police arrested Jose Antonio Ibarra, charging him with a host of serious offenses, including malice murder, felony murder, kidnapping, aggravated assault with intent to rape, and obstruction of justice. Ibarra, however, pleaded not guilty to all charges, setting the stage for a highly anticipated trial. The case quickly garnered national attention, not just for its tragic nature, but also due to the suspect's immigration status, sparking debates across political circles about border security and criminal justice reform. In the wake of Laken's death, lawmakers pushed forward the Laken Riley Act. This legislative response aimed to tighten regulations surrounding the release of repeat offenders and strengthen policies for immigration screening, particularly targeting offenders with prior arrests. Supporters of the act argued that such reforms were necessary to prevent similar tragedies, emphasizing the importance of protecting communities from individuals with criminal backgrounds. Opponents, however, raised concerns about the potential for discrimination and the complexities of implementing such measures effectively. Nonetheless, the act passed with bipartisan support, marking Laken's legacy as a catalyst for change. Laken's family remained steadfast in their pursuit of justice, their grief fueling their advocacy. They became voices not only for Laken, but also for the broader cause of community safety and accountability. Through public statements and emotional interviews, they shared memories of Laken's kindness, her dedication to nursing, and her dreams for the future. The family announced plans to establish a foundation in her name, aiming to support other victims' families and advocate for policy reforms that protect young women. They have vowed to honor her life by working tirelessly to ensure that others might be spared the heartache they've endured. Laken Riley's story is a heartbreaking reminder of how fragile life can be. Her tragic death didn't just leave a void in the lives of those who loved her. It sent ripples through her community and across the nation. This young woman's life was cut short in a senseless act, transforming her memory into a call for change. Through her story, many have come to see the need for a safer society where laws are designed to protect and justice is served without delay. As we remember Laken, let her legacy inspire us to be mindful of our community's safety and to support reforms that can prevent similar tragedies. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we can do to foster safer environments, keep the conversation going, and honor the lives lost by working towards a better future.